call to order the City of Frostburg Historic District Commission meeting for March 9th, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The Maryland Land Use Article empowers Frostburg's Historic District Commission to implement the city's Historic Preservation Overlay District according to the regulations set forth in the Frostburg zoning ordinance. All meetings of this commission are open to the public and conducted in compliance with Maryland's Open Meetings Act. The Frostburg Historic District Commission is charged with the preservation of historic structures and the surroundings within the designated district in order to safeguard the heritage of the city, stabilize and improve property values, strengthen the local economy, and foster civic beauty. Okay, roll call. Maureen Brewer.
Here.
Rob Rapin.
Here.
Joe Hoffman. And Bill Detterman.
Here.
I'm Dawn Heim. Commissioners, if you would please review the agenda, and when you are ready, if I could have a motion.
Motion to accept the agenda.
Second. I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the agenda is approved. And Commissioners, if you will also review the minutes from our last meeting in February 2026. And when you are ready, if I could have a motion.
I'll move that we approve the minutes from the February 9th meeting.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, hearing none opposed, the minutes are approved for February 2026. We do not have any project presentations this evening, so we're going to move to old business, and that would be 76 Unboxed, the Historic District Management Platform. Hi.
Hi. Give me a stand over here.
Wherever you want.
Wherever you want, yeah.
You can come up here, or if you want to.
I'll just sit over here then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I apologize for those that weren't here last time. My name is Lane Thompson, and I'm with JMA Resources out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. We have a status update to present to you. The rest of the team is actually in an open house with the Mechanicsburg team right now and walking through the solution. And they're about 2 weeks behind you guys, so you can imagine where we were about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're going to be walking through their town over the next couple of weeks, doing pictures. I don't know if you remember, but I kind of mentioned the last time I was here, Mechanicsburg has about 800 historic properties. Not because they're a bigger town, but because their boundary is just much larger than it needs to be. So, we have a real effort ahead of us on getting all of that captured.
For sure.
Excuse me,
Yes.
can you, I missed last meeting, so could you just give me a brief,
Sure.
like what 76 Unboxed is?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. I would love to do that again because we're excited about it. So 76 Unboxed is a commercial product that is kind of based on my experience as city manager for Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and a deficiency that I saw in our historic district's ability to organize and ability to effectively govern and enforce the ordinance that we had on historic property management. And so kind of what we did was we put together a software suite that, one, catalogs the entire inventory of a historic district, but then also creates a collaborative environment where discussion groups can be held, and also you can advertise out. In a manner of speaking, it's not advertising, but you can publicize the town to all of the users that are on the platform. And so what we've done recently, after getting started, is we've sent a team down who has photographed the town. I think we collected information and populated about 200 properties from the historic district. I think there's a handful that would still need to be done. But the system is live today and it's in test mode. So Frostburg, Maryland and Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania are both of our test sites. And right now, the update that I have is kind of where we're at with the Frostburg data load and where we're at in the tests and what some next steps are.
So is the vision for it to be our historic district webpage? Is that what we're looking to do, like the goal?
Essentially,
Okay.
like.
Because I know it used to be like so manual to gather all of our properties, so,
Right.
yeah.
This does seek to automate the entire management.
Mhm.
So we don't want to presume how historic districts want to manage their district, but it does offer all of that, including embedding 76 Unboxed in the city's website so that the entire page can just be replaced with the district page
Right.
that we have. And it does match the colors and it matches all of that
Great.
so purposefully.
And then, I'm sorry, just one more question. You said who it would be open to? So
Yes.
who would this be? Whoever is on the webpage, or however the city wants to use it?
Right, so a couple of things. First, the way that Access is envisioned right now, and we're still kind of in test mode, we don't really go live until June 1st, is that we have 3 different types of users. We have free users, we have subscribers at pay with a fee, and then we have district administration, which is historic district memberships. Of course, for Frostburg, it's free and just free for being a test site, so you'll never have to pay for it. But we are envisioning that there's a freeware version that anybody in the entire United States and abroad and anywhere can go onto our site and can populate their property into the system and manage their property's history, the timeline, the photos, the maintenance you perform to your house. Really, any records to maintain your home can be placed into the system. The paid version is about being able to participate in the community, being able to participate in discussion groups, to see a little bit further level into the details in different districts. And then the historic district version, which is paid by the municipality, not by the residents, is paid for by the municipality. That subscription provides an in-depth management capability for the entire historic district, but also the discussion groups and also an inter-district discussion groups, so that you can actually have joint discussion groups with other districts.
They moderated the discussion groups?
So they're moderated by all we have right now is a appropriateness filter. And so we're not moderating for content, we're moderating for any sort of inappropriate context. And so we do have an automated backend. It's kind of an off-the-shelf software that just sits on the back end, and as people are typing, it won't let you put in certain words and that kind of thing. So it kind of does that initial screening of appropriateness, but we're not moderating the content. We do have some partnerships that we're creating right now with different companies and nonprofits that we think would be interesting to come in and do guest moderations, not inside of the district, but in the more public discussion forums. One of them is National Historic Preservation Society. One is a company called Historic with a Q, historic.com. And they're like a records digitization company. Another one is strongtowns.org. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. That's a nationwide kind of to uplift small towns in America. It's kind of a nonprofit, strongtowns.org. And that's one where we're kind of looking to create these partnerships and bring in folks to moderate discussions on a temporary basis. Like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you came in and for a month just hosted a discussion thread about what you're interested in, that kind of thing. So this is your site right here, and I don't know if you've all had a chance to go and browse around in there, but there's a whole lot of capability in here. And right now we're loading the data. Yumi and Rachel were here last week? And because we had to wait for a day of decent weather, so you can see a lot of the pictures have blue skies, which was difficult to come by last week, but we got there, and so loading the data. This is not something that every customer will have. Most subscriber customers will have to load their own data, but we wanted to skip past that part because it takes a lot of effort. So we wanted to just get past that so we could get to the system usage. And that's why we sent them down here to do that. Can we real quick go back to the slides, or did you want to?
Yeah, no,
Sorry, I
yeah, I had to close it out because it was
Ah.
letting me extend the display
Oh, okay.
or duplicate the display.
By the way, everybody on the entire team loves Frostburg. Can't wait to come back.
Oh,
Every time.
good.
And not to
That's
mention
nice to
that
hear.
Rachel's mom went to college here. I think I told you.
Yes, you did,
Yeah.
yes.
We won't tell the secret. We will tell the secret. Rachel's my daughter. That's the
Oh,
inside.
okay.
The inside secret is Rachel's my daughter. Her mother is my wife who went to college here, and that's how we picked the town.
Oh, well,
So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it just happens that way. The pilot testing. So we are through the pilot testing from our side. The next steps will be working on pilot testing from your side. And what we'll be doing is scheduling time with Jamie for you, me, Rachel, Ryan is another analyst, to come down and spend time in the city just as like an open house, just to be available to help folks through the process of creating an account. This is property owners, creating an account, filling in the timeline and any photographs that they want to upload, showing them how to do that, how to manage their particular property in the system, and then also working with you all on process management in the system, so that certificates of appropriateness, the packets, and those photographs that come with it can be uploaded. And then when you approve those certificates of appropriateness, they then get backloaded into the system so that you have that trail of what happened to the property when it was approved. And really we're encouraging this behavior of try to get some before and then after photos so that you have this timeline of, my house used to look like this,
Yeah.
I asked permission to make this change, and now my house looks like that. And in that way, 15 years from now, the yous of 15 years from now will be able to see the running history of the property and can watch that evolution happen over time. So go ahead to the next slide. So Jamie's got his admin account, and he can do basically anything in the system. That includes creating new user accounts, that includes uploading any photographs or timeline or any of those things. He can create advertisements on the page if you guys want to do that. He can change the name of the page, he can change the colors of the page, he can do all that stuff. And he also can moderate all the discussion groups from the administrative panel that's in the system. We did some social media posts, and you all started using what's called UserBack. UserBack is when you're logged into the system, there's a little, it almost looks like a chat bot in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and that's a direct connection between the user and the analyst. There's a real person on the other end, Rachel or Ryan, who collects that information. That's basically a real-time, I wish I could do this on this screen, or hey, how come this is down here and not up there? And it's really just, it's a user feedback as you're there in the system, because when you hit enter, when you enter a text and you hit enter, we also get what screen were you on, what data was displayed, what time was it, so that we can understand what you were looking at when you made that comment. And so we are now past this as what we're calling kind of setting the stage or foundational information. The next step, if you go to the next slide, the next step is we really want to ramp up a little bit of communications to get more of the property owners engaged, because ultimately getting them in the system at least once, and we acknowledge that there are some property owners that just aren't going to play.
Sure.
They're the same ones that don't play in your process today. They're not going to play an automated process tomorrow because they either don't care or they're above the law or whatever. But we're going to make it as easy as possible so that if they do want to play, they have an ability to do that. The landing page for Frostburg76.unbox.com has received about 15 submissions asking for access and requests, and we're kind of working with them directly to get them into the system. And what we'll be doing with Jamie is providing him with updates of how many people are in the box, how many properties have been populated, and that way you can see it fill out over time. The goal is, by the time we go to commercial launch in 1 June, you guys have a fully populated system that is under positive control and you guys are using it as part of your normal course of business. That's the goal. Yes, ma'am?
So I'm not sure I understand the process. So you guys came and you took 200 pictures of downtown historic. So are we asking property owners to upload all their information, or do we take what we currently have and put it into the system?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is kind of short circuit the process. The real process is that property owners load their information. When a new subscribing historic district comes on board in June, they'll just get access to a bunch of self-help videos on how to load data and how to do outreach in your community, that kind of thing. And the property owners or the district staff will have to load that information. But we wanted to get past that, so we sent a team down here to start taking pictures and loading them. Also because when the users first get in the system, we want them to be able to see their property and identify and go, yes, that is mine, and I acknowledge that's mine, just to get rid of some unclarity at the beginning.
Question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You had talked about having an open house where you would
Yes,
help
ma'am.
do we have kind of a date or a range of where we're looking
We
at? for
don't,
that?
but I just talked to Yumi just before this meeting, and she had her team are anytime between now and whenever. So whatever you guys think is appropriate, really, we just want to make sure that somebody from the staff can help so that we can train them at the same time, Jamie. And but we're willing to come and sit for all day long and have people come in and.
So what time frame? Not days, but how long would this be an open opportunity for people in the public?
Yeah, I would like to do as many as 4 or 5 hours at a time of having an open house that we can just publish the time and have people kind of wander in, and maybe we'll provide some refreshments and really do more than just have Ryan and Rachel sitting in front of the computer to help people, but also we can have conversations with them about what the overall vision is for the product and that kind of thing. And we also can do any time of the day. It can be morning, evening, it can be afternoon, it can be a mix of all three. Really,
Can you do a virtual open house?
we sure can. We can do webinars. We can do really anything that you can envision would be helpful is what we want to be available to do. And I think as far as what the dates need to be, I think it's more a function of what do you think would be useful, and then we can adapt to that. What days of the week are best? Is there kind of a coinciding event, like can we do 2 hours before a council meeting because that's when people are interested in their government? Can we do on an event that's coming up? I think you have is it the art walk coming up?
Yes, bringing arts walk.
Something like that. Like, can we do something that coincides with that? Like maybe during that event, maybe
Well,
have
maybe we could work with the museum and do a architectural art thing. And
yeah, and we could go to the museum and do it there too, if that works for you guys. Anything that we can do to help people understand what the system does, start to use it, create an account, and then get excited about the history of their property. The entire, and Jamie has the original brief, and certainly I think it's probably in the minutes of previous meetings maybe, but the original brief we talked about a lot about what our mission is, and our mission here really is about getting people excited about the history of their property, so that as an entire community we can kind of uplift the historic district and really start to connect with that economic development promise that historic districts are there for. And in order to do that, for Frostburg, we're kind of jump starting it. Like because once we do that, for the future folks who are going to subscribe, we have the ability to show them, look at Frostburg, look at Mechanicsburg, and they can see people being active and talking about things. And there's right now we just don't have any material to show you because it hasn't been created yet.
Right.
When Mechanicsburg becomes live, will we be able to
Yeah.
talk with them?
Yes, and it's so interesting because we were talking about the issue that you guys face about demolition of properties, and Mechanicsburg has a history of how to deal with this problem. And we went through some ordinance changes and things like that to deal with that. And once we got into the ordinance, of course, just like you guys are probably thinking, well, while we're in there, we might as well do this, we might as well do that. As long as we're gonna do it, let's overhaul the whole dang thing. Yes, one of the founding principles of this is that in order to help you and the future yous do a better and more effective job, that you have access to the you and the future yous in other municipalities, that you can talk to about their lessons learned, that you can actually readily see and scan all of their ordinances. You can ask them questions about when did you go through this process. You have examples of blighted properties that you demoed, and what did you go through in an approval process to do that. Mechanicsburg is really rough. They're like, they want to see some plans for what the next property is going to look like before you do it, which is a little bit controversial when that one got passed. But so yeah, absolutely, connecting people, particularly the committees. It's called board in Mechanicsburg. It's commission here, obviously, connecting those experts and those volunteers together so that they are all learning from each other. Yeah, and I think that's really going to be the huge value add. I think is once you guys have the ability to collaborate with other folks, you can start to very quickly scan what are the like cases of the one that we're looking at tonight. If Mrs. Smith is replacing her door, how many identical houses of this are there in America that are in the system, and what do all their doors look like? And you can just kind of look through them and really start to focus on how do we better advise the property owner as well? How can they learn before they come to you, so that it's not this kind of iterative thing. It's more like it's in real time. It's in this discussion forum, and they can learn from others too. Could we go to the next slide? I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. So bug fixes and improvements. We are working on a lot of things that we're finding, and there are some notifications that we've added. There are some folks who have come into Frostburg and claimed property that's not actually in the district, which is interesting. We do have a method that we're building for property owners outside the district who want to join the conversation in the district. And while they wouldn't be part of that subscription, there would be an ability for them to subscribe and then ask to be let in. And then Jamie would have the ability to accept them into the community so that they can partake in the discussion groups, that kind of thing. And there would just be clear marking that they're not actually governed in the districts, so that you don't see some strange activity from them and go, hey, what are you doing? You know, knowing that they're not in the district.
So would that be a one-time thing? They subscribe once, it wouldn't be like yearly, or would it be yearly?
No, I mean, the approval to add them in is just a one-time thing. And really, as long as they're a continued subscriber, they'll be attached to the district and be able to participate. And so I think that's going to be a very useful thing. I know in Mechanicsburg, for instance, there are probably another 1,500 historic properties outside of the district itself. And so people who really want to participate and learn on preservation and restoration issues, but they just haven't been included. We had some time zone issues with the calendar and appointment settings, so we fixed those. And then we've added, or we are adding this week, map icons for haunted properties and cemeteries. So people have been asking through our Facebook, our social media, and through our kind of focus group that we do our market research with, hey, we'd like to be able to mark properties if we believe they're haunted. And so we have a little icon for that. And then cemeteries to be added to the list of, we already have residences, businesses, churches, schools, are all different little icons when you see the map.
Yeah.
So the haunted properties one I think is actually a little ghost, a little Casper looking ghost. It's not fun. Next slide. So we're working on now filters, which you guys will find useful. And these are all, when we add features, they're all added using just standard best practices of today. There's no new magic in it. It's just things that you see on every website you're on. And so you'll be able to intuitively use it. And then again, if you have any issues with it, you just hit that user back from the lower right-hand corner and just provide that feedback. Adding meeting minutes and agendas to events, one of the features that we feel is very important is to be able to have on the calendar a hover over function to where when a user hovers over the meeting, they can see what items are on the agenda without having to open up a document and all of that stuff. And they can quickly just see a little summary of it. And then also after the meeting, that they can just hover over that meeting and see what decisions were made. And that way they don't need to go through any extensive research to figure all that out. The arrows and captions, we think that those are going to be very useful. I think you'll see some examples of that as you start scrolling through, where there's one of the areas in town where there's a historic wall here that was
Oh, yes,
the wall.
along Main
Bottom
Street.
yeah, and that wall, in a lot of the photos, our team wanted to add some arrows that make sure we're pointing out that wall in the historic photograph, and then in the new photographs, if it's not shown, to be able to kind of direct people that the wall is still there, but it's just not depicted. And then the about page, that's an easy thing to change, and people have the ability to change that text. And then removing ownership, that's something that Jamie will have the ability to do. The district administrator, as people leave, right, and they sell their property, they may forget that they're a subscriber, and the new person comes in and goes, hey, I'd like to subscribe, or I need to sign up, and then you gotta remove the old person before you can let the new one in. So that's a new capability that we've just added. Next slide. So the outreach plan we talked a little bit about. Anything that you think is useful, I would like to really just walk out of here knowing that we can work with Jamie on any assortment of hours and days, and that if you guys have any ideas for this event or this day or this location, the library or the museum being a good example, right? Then just get with Jamie and we'll consolidate that into just a schedule, and we'll shoot it back out and say, here, we'll be here all these dates and times. And then social media. So we did notice that on your social media, you're getting some questions, and just a reminder that we can also help in answering those questions. If any of those come through, and we're kind of watching it as well, but what we want to do is we don't want to confuse anyone, we don't want to upset anyone, obviously. And so if the staff or if you all see anything on social media that you're concerned about, just bring it to our attention, and we'll offer responses, and we'll offer, what's some clarifying information that would help. For sure, that's, I don't really see, other than in Mechanicsburg, there was a, that's more about the fact that I used to be the city manager there. It was more like why is Lane at the meetings again? So there was that. Is there another slide?
No, that's
Okay. So first, I really wanted to thank you guys for doing this with us, because really every day we get new ideas and we are starting to implement them all very quickly. I know I talked to you guys about how we've been able to do software development in a more rapid fashion. It's really quite astounding that the kind of new technology with AI-based software development, how fast you can just take an idea, 24 hours later I've got it ready to put it into the box. And so really we're kind of steaming along at 60 miles an hour, and what we don't want to lose track of, though, is that we don't want our ideas to outpace getting folks in the box, because that's the really important point. We'll have a big victory the very first time that we have a discussion happening between residents or between commission members and residents and things like that. We'll have a huge party for that. Any questions about this? Concerns? Anything I can take back to the team and admonish them for? Is it all? I'll admonish them anyway. There's something they've done wrong, I'm sure. So would you mind going to the district homepage for anyone who hasn't seen it? Just hitting the district page. If you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like when you first log in, And one of the things that, so first of all, Jamie has the ability to admit to change almost any of this. From identifying the featured properties, which we think is a really good feature, that this is something, the featured properties where the freemium subscribers, the I don't pay anything but I'm free, where these properties can be almost an advertising campaign for the town or for the city, and then they'll be able to see the top level information from all the other properties, but they won't be able to dive down into that. That's kind of if you want to get any more information, you have to be a paid subscriber. But this is what it looks like. There are, if you scroll down real quick, Jamie, do you see the little, Jamie, can you hit the bottom right-hand corner?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the user back comments
Yeah.
screen, and that really does just, it just pops up on Rachel and Ryan's computers, and they just take it, and as soon as you hit send feedback, it takes a screenshot of everything you were looking at. And if you could scroll down a little bit further, I wanted to remind you guys, all the way down to the bottom. See where it says sponsored 76 Unboxed at the bottom? Just as a reminder to you and to the city, you do have the opportunity to put sponsored ads on here for your own revenue generation, or for just advertisement of things. And that's not something that operates through us, it's just something that Jamie has the ability to do on the back end of the system, is add advertisements, and he can do up to, I believe, 4. And then also at the very top, he can do a sponsorship. At the very top, where it says Frostburg Historic District, right next to that, if you add a sponsor, it will say sponsored by or brought to you by. And that's just an opportunity for a single sponsor to come in and potentially offset the entire cost of a year of service for a district. For you guys, obviously, any revenue is above cost because cost is 0, but it is a feature that's there for you to use. Even if it's just there to say market your downtown or your main streets organization, your nonprofit, just putting it in there as a sponsor and saying, you know, we're just trying to.
So like Frostburg first? could
Absolutely,
do
yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah. And for Mechanicsburg, it's called the Downtown Partnership, and they theirs will be Mechanicsburg, brought to you by the Downtown Partnership.
Have you talked with any of the folks at Frostburg first?
No, but I would love to. Love that. I mean,
We have.
yeah.
We had discussions with them about this,
Okay.
and like some very early initial discussions, but they haven't gone.
Yeah, I think
We have a board meeting coming up on Thursday at noon. Want to be there?
I mean, I've been going to the.
I know you have, that's why I said that.
Yeah, yes, I will be there.
Yeah, I think it probably would be good to have that on the agenda then.
the last thing I'll mention. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. So how many subscribers do we hope to get? Like, so I just want to clarify the pricing. So for the municipality, it's free, but individuals,
Yes.
they would be subscribers. So how many are we looking to?
Well, so I have pretty extensive models for that that are kind of just based on some industry, market research, and focus groups. We believe that the free version will obtain as many as 1.6 million subscribers in the first 2 years. And right now, the industry standard of converting free subscribers to paid is about 6%. So 1.6 million, 6%, I don't know, maybe 65, 70,000, something like that.
So are you talking about 76 Unboxed total, or just Frostburg site?
For just Frostburg.
I'm just thinking just Frostburg. I wasn't thinking of your entire
Well,
site.
for just Frostburg, every property within the historic district will have a record. Whether the property owner comes in and creates their account to manage the property is a secondary topic that we really want to help get on top of, because we really want them all to do it.
So it's like claiming your business on
Right.
Google or something
Right, it's
like
gonna
that.
be there.
Right.
See, they're all
Right.
there. So I believe that Frostburg is something like 260 something properties in the historic districts. We would like 100% of those to have accounts in the system where the property owner has claimed the property. Realistically, 80% would be awesome, 90% would be spectacular, 100% would be somebody's lying, like that kind of thing. We don't really have a model to predict how many outside the district will subscribe. That's more of like we want to create the ability for them to join, but we have to draw the boundaries around your legal boundary for your historic district and say
Sure.
that's what we're managing. But my guess is that it's going to be pretty popular for folks in the immediate surrounding area to want to join as a subscriber. And within each of the accounts, there are also privacy settings about how much data
It's public. and
you can have public. Now, and Maryland has specific laws around privacy of data, and so does Pennsylvania. Everybody, California's the worst, but all of the user data is private anyway. So like the account that you create, when someone goes in and creates an account, like what their name is and what their phone number is, and like all of that, they have the ability to just say, I don't want to share any of that. The property file itself doesn't have a ton of property settings. The assumption here is the property file itself is
public
shareable.
already. Well, it's
It's
probably
either-
public already.
It's either public to on the surface from the outside, the front-facing picture is public. For a paid subscriber, they can look at the timeline tab on the property details, and they can see the timeline of the house that the person has populated. And then inside of the district, you can actually see all of the applications they put in for change and all of that.
Because that's all public
Right.
information
Yeah,
anyway.
nothing that we're doing here is considered to be really, I would go one step further than private. Nothing that we're really asking them to provide is considered to be their property. It's really just, it's information that is factual in nature about the timeline of their house. And so once they put it in the system, it's kind of in there.
So like the data was
What
built.
opportunities would a business be that's in the historic district in terms of?
Yeah, I think the opportunities would really be their ability to, for one, find similar businesses in other districts and understand how they're operating to try to increase business through things. The real intent would be through things that they're doing to the aesthetics of the outside of their property, right? But then, of course, they're going to share things like, how often you run sales and that kind of stuff, which is not really the intent. But once you make the connection, the sky's the limit as far as what their discussions can be. Whether it's let's say it's an artisan bakery in Frostburg and an artisan bakery in Mechanicsburg, and they talk about, well, what time do you do your baking so that the smell is in the town, and where does the wind come from? You can talk about all that stuff and figure out, I think really all of it is there.
So as an advertising vehicle that would really not be available then to them?
Outside of the district advertising that we've set up that you can manage yourself within the city government, outside of that, we haven't created any advertising. We didn't want to bombard people with advertisements. Now, I do believe that when we launch the freeware version, it's going to have advertisements, and that's more of a behavioral aspect of trying to push people towards paying the subscription fee to get rid of advertisements. And so there will be some advertisements on the free version, but we're focused on and we're working with a number of web advertising, to make sure that we can pick the service that is the most customizable. The one thing we want is for the advertisements to be meaningful and in context with the product.
I mean, so I can see realtors wanting to do an advertisement, or contractors that are looking for business within the historic district.
Yeah.
I mean, those two just pop up
Security
immediately.
Or maybe FSU with I don't know, what is it, a CES, cultural event series.
Cultural event
It
series,
could be the
yeah.
palace, it could have all kinds of things.
We do
Museum.
a lot of business for a credit union called Members First Credit Union up in central Pennsylvania, and we were just meeting with them today on something completely different. and they've asked if they can be a exclusive partner on advertising with this system once it goes live. We're gonna kind of negotiate a deal with that, but they, they hold, I wanna say she said 42,000 home equity lines of credit. And what they wanna do is when you open up home equity line of credit, they wanna give you an account for free. They wanna pay for your paid subscription so you can manage your home and your renovations through the system. And I thought that was a cool idea. Every time I go to a meeting with anybody about this, I walk away with some new idea. Just because kind of the topic is one that's not really explored very much, and so once you get people thinking about it, these new ideas come out, and so we're already working on the solution.
It's actually a good idea for the
Is
realtors.
that page edited? So they
Yeah.
aren't all populated with all those pictures?
Right.
Normally it's just that one picture.
Yeah.
So somebody went in there and added some pictures, right?
That's right.
Erica, who works for us.
Oh, okay.
In our department, she's the.
Can I even see like a gate or something there? And
She owns 214, and so she claimed her property and
Oh.
then uploaded, like, looks like there's something, you know, like an old.
This is the one where the wall is in the old photo.
Oh, yeah, because it
Oh.
sits up on the.
Yeah, see the wall's
yeah.
in the old photo, but it's not in the new photos.
Right,
And so this is an area where what we want to do is coach the staff and coach through best practice videos about if you have these historic photos, go and try to take a new photo from the exact same place
right.
that the old one was taken from. And with the web app that we're developing for photo collection, we're doing like a, I don't know if you've ever seen a aspect filter, basically that puts a little frame inside your phone and you kind of move it to where it's inside the frame to make sure you're getting the right aspects.
Right.
We just want to, we want to get it as efficient as possible to get data loaded, but it does take things like reminders of like, please move your car out in front of your house before you take the photo.
Yeah.
Move the kids' toys from the front porch. You know, maybe think about those things. Look for a good weather day. Those sorts of things.
Sure.
I see us being able to use that a lot with before and after pictures of projects we've approved.
Right.
We always get the stuff before. If we could get them to take a picture after, that would really be helpful. Because if people
Absolutely.
want to say, I want to replace my door, well, look at the ones that were replaced. So we could do that.
And it's created in such a way that even if they don't, you can. So like, even if they don't, Jamie can walk down the street and just take a picture with his phone of their house and just upload it himself. There's specific permissions that the admin has and that the librarian or historian would have to be able to fill in data on the back end. And it all has to go to the administrator for approval before it gets input into the system. But the we want to try to make that data collection just instinctual. Just everything you do to your home, come back and tell the story. In the discussion groups, we want you to tell more than just the factual story because we think that there's so much to be gained by using plain language in these discussion groups, as if you were standing on the front porch talking to someone about what you went through, so that when a person says, I want to change the windows in my house, they immediately can put that into a discussion group and they can have, hey, I did that, some things to think about. One,
Don't do it.
One,
Sorry. Sorry.
one, whatever you think it costs, double that. That's probably what it costs. Two, vinyl bad, custom, so have all those discussions before they start investing dollars and calling contractors. Have all those preliminary discussions about best practices and expectations and what information does the commission want to see regarding windows. This is the good one, the best one with windows. What is 3/2 and 2/1 and 6/5 and what are these window configurations and why does it matter to me? That's a great conversation. to
Yeah,
have up front.
it's interesting.
So we have all that.
We've been looking at other communities in terms of what their particular historic district guidelines are. Frederick is very interesting when so much of what they built in is very much informative and educational in terms of, well, for example, windows, what kind of windows would be appropriate here, what are not.
Yeah, Yeah, I think one of the things this allows you to do is not have to build all of that into the ordinance necessarily. I know when we went through that in Mechanicsburg, we went through like a couple of iterations where we had the text with an entire side column that had actual pictures, color pictures, in the ordinance. And then we had this discussion about, well, we ended up scrapping it because it changes more than council really cares to review new ordinances, and more than they want to pay an attorney to review the new ordinances. And so they were like, okay, just leave the text, and we'll move the ordinance, we'll move the pictures and the best practices to a separate guide.
Resources, yeah.
And what this will do is allow you to just do that digital to begin with, and have those on here, and just have, a discussion group that says Windows. And like the very first thing on there is, here's all the examples of Windows, and here's some things not to do. And the one thing that we're worried about right now is when people start going in there and saying, don't use these guys, use those guys. That just takes some moderation. It's a little bit of, hey, we probably don't want to call winners and losers when it comes to vendors. But if residents are talking about it, that's still important and useful. It's just a matter of, does the commission weigh in on that? And that's where you could get into trouble. But it's good trouble to be in. So I think the last thing I wanted to mention was the after we go live, we're not going away. The intent of all of this close relationship is to create a long-term relationship to where all the new functionalities we put in, we can bring to you first, and you can try it all out before we move it into the production system. And so as much of that you guys can tolerate, we'll continue to do. And then hopefully we can we can get you guys to be the architects of several generations of new products. It doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that it's free is going to last forever. That's not a big thing. But we do want to create the relationship that allows us to bounce ideas off you guys and new products and services that are within the box. So,
Sounds great.
I'm sorry if I took up any of your time. I
No.
apologize.
No, I'm here to listen and learn about this specifically.
Okay,
So.
'cause I'm kind of excited about this, as you can tell.
Do I
I
have
think it's
any
great.
questions?
I mean, I think a lot of stuff that you talked about, Jamie, you already have all this stuff, like the windows and all that, like, that's already done, you just need to kind of just drop it in, right?
That's going to
I mean,
be
a
part
lot
of
of
our
our-
next discussion.
Well, I know, but we have we have an outline.
Yes, yes.
We are going to be gamifying it too. That's probably kind of a cool thing. Gamifying it as far as what a verified user can be, and how much of your profile you need to fill out to get verified, and how many pictures you can to get like a level 1 and like level 2. And then really just try to drive behavior.
Make
you
it
know?
fun.
Yeah.
Are we able to open
Yes.
discussion?
Sweet. You answered so many of the questions that I started writing down, so thank you for being thorough, and thank you, Commission, for providing insight both on your last meeting and in this space. You're clearly asking engaged questions. My first question is for the Commission and maybe for you, but I'm curious whether the residents and the homeowners here were reached out to prior to the photos being taken about this initiative, what their thoughts were, concerns were, consent to having their photos taken. I know that it's public property, but I'm just curious what outreach happened there.
Well, we have photos already of all of the homes because we keep that as a public record for use for the commission meetings and such. So,
For the state,
I'm sorry.
for the state of Maryland also.
Right. So I don't know, Jamie, do you have something else to add to that?
Yeah, we didn't reach out to anybody specifically prior to, but I do know, like, as long as we, like, from a city perspective, like, if we are not trespassing on somebody's property, photos, like, we can take photos from off the property, of,
The front facade.
yeah, and, so we didn't think it was anything where we had to alert people that it was going to be happening, because it's something that we can just do as part of our job anyway. And especially because it wasn't for like any nefarious purpose. It it was for this. So no, there was no prior outreach for that.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
could imagine
Legally.
a particular individuals who are unusual saying, "What are you doing taking a picture of my house?"
Yeah, we did not have anybody. We had one person that was getting their hair done at one of the salons on Main Street and had curlers in her hair and was outside, and she just kind of asked, "Hey, what's going on?" So we informed her of what we're doing, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool." Yeah.
I understand it's a little atypical for you to send out a team to take pictures, so it's probably a not normal process anyway.
This
So
is not,
I think
definitely
it's
not.
a great thing to have the pictures in there and to help us get a look at what this can do. I think that's definitely gonna be an asset for our team for like city to adopt this. I work in technology implementation, so my brain went to a lot of spaces throughout the questioning here. I can see some of the uses of AI and kind of generative information sharing, data sharing and collection, which does give me some pause and some concerns or questions, but it's all standard from what I can see. I spent some time on the website just now while we were talking, and I see a lot of really cool things that I like the announcements being in sync with what's on the main website. My question, Jamie, is, do you expect this to change your role in terms of how much you have to admin the system? Have you gotten a sense of, are these systems integrated so that when you put an announcement up on your main website, it's automatically doing that here, or is this another layer of work?
So the announcements that are there, I personally did not place them there. I believe it was somebody from the JMA, the team. I don't know if that's something that can be set up for this website, like where it can auto poll. Is it already doing that, or is it something where they populated them manually?
For what you see right there right now, it's populated manually.
Okay.
Yes, it is possible. The intent of this is not necessarily to mimic 100% the website. It's actually to give you all an additional voice that is specific to the historic district. We put the announcements in there because they're real and it provides content. But if you expand the thought on announcements a little bit, it's not necessarily just City of Frostburg announcements regarding what's going on in City of Frostburg. It could be you guys want to make an announcement about anything, or the Main Streets organization wants to put an announcement on here about something that's going to happen. It could really be any content regarding announcements. And right now it's set up to where the administrator, Jamie, now would have to be the one who puts it in. Impossible to connect it to the website? No, I mean, that's possible. It's just a little bit of extra effort on our side.
I'd be curious how that develops. I do think there's, like right now it's surfacing like your green team updates because that was like our most recent meeting. That might not be something you choose in future to put up unless that meeting happens to have some really important overlap for this platform. But I can see how you can be a little bit more creative and maybe even looser with what you can advertise here than you would on your main website. I'm, as an end user, would be really curious at that why. Why am I going to this other system? Why create a login? Giving password and data access, privacy access to another platform. What's the benefit in there? And I can definitely see opportunity for benefit, even for someone who doesn't live in the historic district, but just to appreciate my city. Another thought that just came up, and I don't know if you have it now or could add it to your list of nice to haves. There's a lot of really cool pictures of just like Main Street broadly or different areas that kind of maybe cover multiple properties. It'd be cool to be able to tag yourself in something like that. I see a lot of the local artists who have dug up really cool pictures, and they have a modern picture that compares to some of those older ones, and that would be really interesting to be able to see that together. I think that's all of my like really important questions. I would be so fascinated to like pick your brain a little bit, but this seems like a really fun project to be working on. I get your background being city admin. I see this solving problems, which is the biggest thing I came here to see and wonder is this a place where we're just going to give our data access privacy over to some company that's just going to like comb us and throw us into an AI bot? And I see value here, and so that's just affirming for me. So that's all my thoughts and questions now.
Well, thank you. Good insights.
Thanks, Kevin.
I've been thinking
other
that this would be
questions?
really neat to have different historical pictures of businesses. because there've been, you know, this is an old town. Somebody, I was thinking of the coral reef. You watch Facebook and people put old pictures of different
Oh, I
things.
see what you're saying.
So you have to have lived, you probably don't know what the coral reef is.
I don't. No.
It was a bar on Grand Street, now it's a nail salon.
Okay.
Grant Street and Main Street. And it was a
Okay,
big
yeah.
bar. In fact, Frostburg was called, Thursday night was called Reef Night. Because everybody went out to Coral Reef, because everybody
I
had
see.
classes Thursday and they didn't have a class Friday.
Oh.
So they'd go out and get loaded Thursday night. And they all went to Coral Reef. And it wasn't a big place, but it was a happening place.
Yeah.
That's Duncan's, that was a happening place. All kinds
Yeah.
of things like that.
Yeah, I know some of the pictures we were talking about earlier of the town where you have multiple properties. We've used them previously to look at what original,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you know, facade looked like, when things changed, trying to date, that kind of thing. So I know they've been really useful for our purposes here. So it would be nice to be able to include those.
Sure.
In a folder, and I don't know, however, but,
I'll take it back. Remember that we're still in development mode, so your
Right.
ideas are my passions, and so I think we'll just find a place to put it, maybe on the front page where you can have a walk through town that's not related to a specific property, and just have the ability to add historic photos of the town in general. Yeah, no problem with
I
that.
have a question. On the map, can you overlay the A&E district over top of it? Because it's pretty close.
We could draw a lot of different things on the map editor. The map editor is pretty high speed, and really the ability to draw something around the existing is there. It would be just a matter of how do you want to use it. But we can certainly work with Jamie on how to do that, and really. The thing we're doing with this particular one, though, is this is an actual logical grouping of properties, so that we can know when we have 100% inventory. And really, this is the line around the outside is the very first level of detail around how much of the property, how much of the historic district is actually accounted for. And then as people claim the properties, then there's a logging of within the district, we expect 262 properties, and right now 35 of them are claimed. And so that number will grow as we continue to tag those properties. And then, as I kind of said, in the commercial product that's launching in June, this is all done by the administration itself, the municipality. We're not really doing that data collection, and they're the ones who need to establish kind of rules of engagement for how they want to collect the data. That's another reason why we put the map editor in here, is that a number of historic districts that we've spoken to, they may be operating by a set of bylaws that doesn't have a traditional ordinance or legal related description of the district, and this allows them to really put some granularity to what they want the district to look like. They operate by bylaws, and sometimes that third house on Main Street counts, and sometimes it doesn't. And this allows them to really be pretty specific and actually kind of take charge of what they're doing.
Jamie, is it possible to put, to be able to click on a particular place and get the address?
Yeah.
The street address?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the various properties here, I'll just pick one. Well, maybe.
Well, you're in the editor.
Oh, I'm in the editor, that's
Yeah.
why.
So you gotta go back out.
They
to
go
the-
back to the actual
the district
district
page
page.
there. And once you go in there, this was
There
kind
it
of
is.
built on kind of a Zillow format, where when you're over the property, it gives you that
right.
Yeah,
little window there.
yeah, you can click on individual properties and it'll give the address and you can see the photos. Let's try and think here.
Yeah, I was thinking more about those sites that do not have a house associated with it yet. It's just an address, a block.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of different GIS layers that are on here that you can toggle between, and you can have one that has the street addresses on there. And we'll work with Jamie to make sure he can see all of that. But yeah, there is an overlay that has all that data.
And like, show you, like, for this one, like, I went through and populated some of the addresses. It has the underlying address, but then there's also a title for the property. So for like named places, like I went in and put in the Hawking House,
Right.
and various others, you know, like
Well,
Frost Mansion.
And for a building
Yeah.
that's no longer there, the Al Petit Paris, be able to click on it and see a picture of what was there before?
Yeah, that was actually one of the Facebook questions. Somebody said, I think they wanted to add what it used to be,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
what
yeah.
it is now.
Right.
So I don't know if we can do something like that or how that would work.
Yeah, I think, so the way it's set up today would be that you would simply add to the timeline. Before that structure existed, there was another structure, and you would have the pictures and descriptions of that other structure. And you wouldn't have a separate location for it. It would be the same location in the same property file. It's just that inside that property file timeline, you would be able to see its evolution from whatever was there first until what's there now.
Yeah, Frostburg has had, in the Main Street area, has had lots of fires and lots of places are.
They all have.
Urban renewal.
They all have fires, yeah.
With the Opera House.
High density living at its best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually an exciting feature because like he was talking about with businesses as they evolve over time. A lot of, like in Mechanicsburg, for instance, a lot of what are now large apartments used to be like, the original supermarket or the original general store. And having those historical photos and showing the evolution over time, where it went from a general store to an automotive store to a yoga studio to now it's and being able to see the pictures of all of those with the signs, which is what we kind of try to find, is because that signage kind of is so kind of needed in that scenario. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you
You're welcome.
for your time and.
Yeah, and we'll be back, and yeah, we'll be back. And really, if you wanna, I'll give you my info and we can just exchange information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lane.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thankfully.
I need to get on my page.
Yes, you do. You need to claim your
Oh,
house.
thank you.
All right, our next item under old business is our discussion on updates to the historic district guidelines. In particular, we were talking about demolition and how that works, and we were looking at examples from some other locations. Jamie found us Hagerstown and Cumberland to take a look at what they have in theirs. And so, so we need to kind of delve into that.
Yeah, and that could be something that engages us over a long period of time in terms of what we might do with our own guidelines and evolve them.
Yes.
I know the demolition thing on Cumberland is pretty darn complete.
Yes, it's very detailed. It gives you a procedural step-by-step of what needs to happen, what paperwork is required to be submitted, and when, and within the process time. And I think that's really important for us to have
And even
moving
they have
forward.
a section on what if the owner says, I can't do anything with this property, I don't have the finances to
Right.
do it.
Right,
And it gives some suggestions.
right, exactly. So I think, that you're referring to the economic hardship section that they have in there as well. So I think it's really well thought out, and one of the things when I was reading through this, it just really highlighted to me that, you know, how professionally this was done, and really felt like, as I was reading through this, that we probably need to look at our entirety of our guidelines. And if I was going to ask Jamie if there was any line item for the Historic District Commission, if there's anything in the budget where we could get a firm preservation company to come in, take a look at our guidelines and make them look and polish them more of, find all the details that ours are currently missing. I think the way they were kind of put together was, oh my goodness, we really need
Kind of a hodgepodge and immediate, very reactive. I
Yes,
think,
exactly,
yes.
and that's what I was saying, is that, I mean, they've served us, but I really think it's time for us to relook at the entire thing and have someone help us walk through that process, for the entire part of the guidelines.
Yeah, we've done that sort of thing with Frostburg First, and hiring consultants to come in and help us. So Jamie, since you're the czar over there now, so.
As far as there being a line item budget for the historic district, there is not, to my knowledge. But for something like that, I would think that we'd have to look for some kind of grant funding. You know, so we have to go out and get some form of grant funding, unless mayor and council wanted to designate a certain amount of the budget. I don't know how willing they would be with that.
Sure.
Especially for how much, you know, a consultant might cost to do something like this. But yeah, I'm thinking it's probably something where we would have to definitely, you know, pursue some form of grant funding to do that.
All right.
Is there any way we could put a request in for that, for the city council? I mean, maybe hotel motel tax or something, because that'll be in like June or, right?
Like, I know they're going over the
Oh,
budget.
trying to think of
right
some money.
now.
Oh, so this is good timing.
Perfect.
Yeah, whether, like, if John was here, he would know, because he's been, you know, working on that specifically. But as far as like how far they're into that, I know they're
Sure.
discussing that at work session. It's something, I mean, I can at least bring it up,
Okay.
and see. I know our department has a small, relatively small, like special projects budget, that we can use for essentially whatever kind of special project we want to use it for each year. It would not probably touch.
Going through Tri-County Council for
Yeah,
a small grant, I think that might have some possibilities.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk
Jot
to
down
Liz.
Charlie.
Obviously, we have the in there with her being the director there now. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways we can go about it. Obviously, we could request that in a budget, whether they grant it or not, or grant even a portion of it maybe.
Another option for grants would be through the heritage area. They would, I'm not sure where they're at in their granting process currently, but I would think this project would fit into what they're looking to fund.
Assuming we couldn't find any kind of grant funding, set it up, could we take what we can find out of other requirements and then present it to like the city attorney? Would that person be qualified to make sure it was kosher?
I mean, as it is, like we said, like it was created just kind of in-house, and you can obviously try to not reinvent the wheel. Like we could, I mean, when it comes to governmental and, these kind of documents, it's very often that these things get just copied and pasted to other places.
Sure.
And if the material is pertinent and it fits, we could do that.
Yeah, no, and looking at the Frederick materials, that looks so well done.
Yeah.
Dawn and I were talking before we started the meeting about the possibility of when we have a situation where someone brings a particular item. For example, last week when someone was bringing an item of their front door and storm door in front of it, they have a beautiful section in the Frederick materials about what would work for them, but we could adapt from it if we wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at one or all of these, you know, other municipalities and how they handle it, and you could pick and choose like the best elements or what we think would be best for us and adapt it to fit Prosper as we see fit. There's no real rule, I don't think, as far as how we would go about this. Like, you could pay a lot of money for somebody to do it for you. These people look like they have probably done that. But if there are a lot of elements in here that would work for us, we could do that and then take that to the city attorney or see, like, if it's something that we want to adopt as the official guidelines, and mayor and council would like vote to have this
I think
like
that-
placed in an ordinance.
That could work, piece by piece over a long period of time. I think Dawn's idea, if the city could find some funding to have
Professionally,
a consultant come in and help us, we might be able to do a more thorough job of looking at the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And this is a good time to do that with the 76 Unboxed and all that. This is a good time to do all that, so everything on the site is fresh, up to date. So you can add that in your request.
Yeah.
This is a perfect time.
Since we're getting that for free.
Right, exactly.
Spend money on-
See, you know how to do it. So you know.
Yeah, so, and obviously, going after grant funding, that's a time frame that takes some time. So in the meantime, if we just look at the demolition, adding that, because we do not have anything
That's
in the
what I was
guidelines currently
That's right.
about that. So maybe if we kind of look at that section, that we could add onto
Sure.
that. And then with our ultimate goal of being to redo the entire set.
Until we get the funding to do the
Right.
whole thing, we could,
Yes.
every time something comes to us, we could try and match up with what we have in our materials from other places. And, it could be informative to us as we look at individual items that come to us.
Is there anything else we want to review before we get the consultants to come and help us? I mean, like, could we, like, we looked at the demolition, was there anything else we would want to look at, maybe the
Probably
next
won't
meeting
know
or something?
Yeah.
Somebody brings that
Okay.
to us and then we go,
I remember one time we were, we had the window issue and the fence.
But right now, we do have an
Issue.
item that's before us, was before us, and that is a demolition.
That's right.
That's probably a good one to start on.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
especially since
We didn't
currently
have it.
we don't really have anything in our guidelines about demolition within the historic district. And obviously, that's a big hole in the guidelines for us. And so if we could get that added, and I agree, we need to look at everything. I think the way it's formatted, giving some of that explanation, that the background or why, we were talking about the windows and the 6/6, or what does that mean, and why is that important, and what kind of house architectural type uses 6/6 versus 3/1 versus, and what all that means to the integrity of the historic district and why it's important and why are we looking at that. So, yeah, I think some of that background, I think, would be really helpful for homeowners
Yeah.
to have a better understanding.
I agree. Do we need to make a motion or anything, or it's just discussion?
Well, we can, if we want to move forward that way, if we want to just look at demolition currently, maybe we can all really take a thorough look at what Jamie has found for us, and then we can, at our next meeting, kind of see if there's anything in here that you want to remove or add or change, that fits Frostburg versus what this was written for, that may be applicable, and then we can have a more discussion next month
Yeah,
when
and
we meet.
if we put something together, we can feed it to council and get it approved.
Right, yeah. So, what is the process for adding something into the guidelines?
That's a good question.
I would have to check to see if there's anything in, like, city code that governs the specific guidelines for the historic district. I know that the actual district itself is established in the code, and the Historic District Commission is established. I'll have to look and see what the specific, like, as far as what you make your decision based on, if that's spelled out in the code, or if it's something that, allows the commission itself to come up with those requirements, or if it is something that would have to be adopted as, like, an ordinance, amendment.
I would expect it would have to
Yeah,
go
I think
through.
if you read it and everything, it can be.
Yeah, especially if it's something where it's substantial to the point where you're, like, some of these municipalities have, like, penalties and such, where, there's
I think in some cases we
fines,
do
or
need
citation,
penalties, what do you
anything.
think?
That would
I think we
probably,
do need
yeah.
penalties
Right.
in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Picture
So
bills
then,
that they
why
did 15
don't
years.
we all go and review what we have, come back with suggestions or changes that we would like to see, and then we can go through the process. Jamie, you'll find out all the details about what we need to do, and we'll start the process next month.
Sounds good.
So is that a motion?
It's a
Do
motion.
I-
Make
Do
a
I
motion
need
for
to?
homework for next time.
I second.
Sorry, Jamie, that wasn't very formal.
So, we did not have a unanimous decision.
Yes.
Homework thing just gets me.
So do we want to do this
From the professor.
at the next meeting? Kind of go over and try to cut and paste?
Right,
Yes.
yeah, kind of come up with something we think would be viable and workable for Frostburg, and then Jamie will let us know the process for how we go
This is-
about getting it approved.
This is referring to Cumberland zoning ordinance, so they obviously have some kind of an ordinance that they went by. And I,
Right,
We're
I don't think
making
we
it,
do.
we're gonna make it right now. We're gonna, not
So
right this
we're gonna
second,
come up
but
with our own ordinance.
we're gonna make it. We're gonna come up with the word.
well, and it could fit into something that already
It's in
exists.
zoning or something, yeah.
Yeah, the zoning ordinance is
Mhm,
wherever
yeah.
the historic.
Right,
That's
where,
right.
that's where we
That's right.
reside,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
All right, do we have any new business?
Do we have any suggestions we might want to relay it through? I would guess at this point it would be Jamie in terms of having a workshop for public for the 76
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, it sounds like there's, I mean, from that one slide, it had an output plan or outreach plan. So I'm assuming that's a communication plan to the residents of the historic district to get them to to know that outside of social media.
He
You know,
talked
there's
about-
probably gonna be like, I can do a mailing, or I don't know, you could put something in water bills,
He
there's
talked
all
about
kinds of
door,
ways.
something like door hangers.
Yeah, at our last meeting,
Yeah.
he talked about the possibility of doing something like that
Just to let
as
people
well.
know in the district
That
that you're in the
costs- that
district,
costs money.
and here's this new.
Right.
So, and everything has a price
Yes.
tag, Jamie, so.
Yes.
That might be a very good first thing to have, where there is 76 Unboxed advertises that we could help them with
See, I
it.
think you should do a banner first thing,
a
put manuals
public
in the house, and
event.
has the unboxed in there.
Yeah.
Put it in
That
the-
was
So-
just simply
You always know.
informative.
When
You connect with your
when is the
downtown.
first Arts Walk?
I should
I
know.
was gonna say, do you know when that is?
I should.
April 25th or 27th.
Okay,
It's coming up in April.
April, that's what I was thinking too,
I
yeah.
think it was the 25th. It's that week. of
Okay.
these.
You talking about Arts Walk?
Yes, yes.
Be a good time.
I was thinking
I went to
maybe the
meetings that was
library
discussed.
would be a good
Library would
place
be
if
good
we
too.
wanted to have, like a walk-in and people could ask questions, or, if they wanted to sign up, someone could help them, because they have that room and that would be a good space.
I would also
That's a good
recommend floating the summer on the scoop that you typically do. It might be a little bit late in the summer, but there might be a benefit in having a couple of different drives for this. Something
Absolutely.
earlier and then something later for the later adopters, plus
Right.
how many folks are maybe snowbirding still a little bit away for the winter. So
Yeah.
just as you think about technology implementations, there's good strategies around early adoption and driving the excitement, but then there's always the folks who are distrustful. And so you want to
Sure.
have another concerted
Yeah.
effort there. So maybe the scoop would be a good one. Put some hand sanitizer so that between ice cream and computers.
Yeah. There you go.
I still think
that
it's
is a
gonna
very
be
good
a big issue,
idea,
but I
and
don't
like,
think people
I
are
actually
sure.
had thought of that and said,
That's
that's
a
like,
realtor.
we had this event called The Scoop that was like, just
Yeah.
an informative, from the city, just to get word out about different projects. I was like, we could do like maybe something similar to that, maybe just for this or in conjunction. But yeah, no, that, it would be like kind of that format at least.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's getting out because I was at the garden club meeting last week and Patrick presented it
Yeah.
to us.
Oh, actually, I have to make up a couple more of these bundles. I just threw a bunch of these. We had some little handout cards. So if you want to pass them along to people you know, people that you know that live in the historic district, to get the word out. I will make up, I had 4 at the time, but I can make up a couple more. They're just like little two-sided cards. They have a QR code that will take you to the 76 Unboxed website. Did I?
Something
Maybe I
like
did
that.
have 5.
This would be good to have down at the train depot,
I would love something.
this QR code. Especially if we did a walking tour, historic walking tour for Frostburg. The people coming up here and they could pick out the, I brought this
So
along
while
for,
I'm on this, I have to nominate it,
Are you outside of the historic district? Okay.
Yeah.
like 3 houses.
Oh. We
What
can
else?
also, in
else?
conjunction with all of this,
Move the
yeah, think about what if we want
Jeez.
to alter the
Then
borders
all
of
my
the historic
neighbors.
district. Even if it's only just a block.
I couldn't figure out why they stopped on Frost Avenue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's,
Pine Street, and didn't go up to High Street.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
houses that were built around the same time, and I thought of that
Absolutely.
as well. It's like,
Yeah,
were
They
these
made that
borders
boundary.
arbitrarily written?
Yes,
or-
yes, they were.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
so-
they were, yes.
And so, like, maybe that is something that should be,
It was us, some
Yeah.
old guy who didn't want to be part
And
of
if
the
you go
district,
up
so
the
they said,
street
okay, we're
here,
gonna stop right here.
You'll find it
That's all.
on the left side and
they
not
walk
the
far
right
enough up the
side.
hill, I guess.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
strange
Maybe
the
at
way
time
it
there were only
has
like
been
12
Yes.
houses on
divided
the
up.
west side,
I
you
don't
know?
know any history of
I
it.
don't think
I
anything
don't
on
either.
College Avenue.
Call it, I think so, but I can just.
I don't know.
Very
I don't
cool.
know.
Some of
I
those
couldn't
houses
figure
past
that
High
out
Street
either.
are probably some older houses.
Yeah, I used to own a house that was 2 houses outside of the district, and I could never figure out why it wasn't included.
The only part on College Avenue is the back end of the Frost Mansion property.
I knew that.
Because it's the,
It's a giant thing on.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but the rest of it isn't. And like on Broadway, it
It's-
stops
right.
here. It's like, but they're, like, these weren't included. I don't know the age of those properties
Right.
or some of them, but it's,
Some of those probably should have been included on
Yeah.
Broadway. You
Yeah.
know, it goes all the way, it should go all the way to College. Or, actually,
Yeah.
would Bell be, I mean, how old is the school?
Yeah, of course, I know.
I
School's
don't
historic.
know.
Right, it's more than 50 years old, isn't it?
Was it built in the 70s? I think.
Looks like
I
it.
think it was
Yeah.
built in the
I
70s.
mean, it looks like
wasn't
it. I don't want to say,
Bell.
Elementary.
You mean I
I
have
don't
to.
want to say
I
the
think in the
70s was that long ago, but it was.
They tore the original elementary school down and
Well, when
built
we
that.
moved into town.
So
in
probably when the
75,
lines were drawn,
We
it
got it.
wasn't
It was
within.
brand new,
Was that
correct.
Right, it wasn't
But do we
within
need to
the-
look at that because eventually the entire town's going to be?
Well,
whoever
yes,
had-
yeah.
owned
So,
A lot
I
of-
mean,
a lot of new
yeah, you
housing.
try to
Original
go to
things
the
off
most
the front porch
significant,
and put
That's right.
that cheap
you know,
wrought
areas of the town, because there's always going to be outliers,
spindles and stuff.
That's right.
that don't fit within.
I didn't know anything about historic district.
But there are those couple houses right there on Broadway that are beautiful. That
Right.
should be-
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Arts Walk's April 25th.
April 25th, you were exactly right.
I just looked it up.
Anyway.
Yes, there will be a quiz later.
I knew I wrote it down, but that was one of my other.
Right, do we have
So
any
maybe
hands?
we could
Because-
look
Had to
at
make some of those
April
spindles
25th
because
during
there
the Arts
weren't
Walk,
enough
where there'll be lots of
new
people
ones.
walking around.
When I was starting to move them up and
That might be a really good
you can't do it.
early, before the
Yeah.
June 1 launch, that we could
I said, I'm making this
make it a
look like
public,
Yeah.
it used to
open
instead
way
of
for
what it
people to
looks
come
like
in
now."
and see what's going
He
on.
was- But I thought he'd be back.
Put
then,
balloons
everything
up and
else.
stuff. And it's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be 72 and sunny.
Excellent, I love it.
Right? Let's put that out.
what are the lottery numbers gonna be too?
Yeah, I don't. I can give you some numbers, but mine don't usually come in.
All right, is there
I
anything
Make a
else?
motion.
All right, do I have a second?
Adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, our meeting is adjourned.